Now I'm going to put the fence on here. I've removed the ferrule on here so that it'll fit up in there easier. We won't need the upper dust collection on this configuration. So this goes back here like this. And we're just going to line this and put this down into that nut that's underneath. Get it started. Now, gotta be careful. Don't push down on this because you'll push that nut off of the position. So I'm holding it with my hand so it doesn't move out of place. Now I'll go around and put the other one on. So if you can do anything with the screw, pull up while you screw it so you don't knock that nut off the bottom there. Get my tool here now. I like to crank it down pretty hard so that'll pull that nut up there with the double stick tape, get it sticking pretty good. Same thing over here. Okay, so now that I've got that nut in there good, now I'll loosen it enough so that I can move the fence around. So again, we're going to start with it pushed all the way forward as far as we can. That'll be our starting position. I'm going to leave this one loose and tighten up this one over here. Okay, so now I've got my fence adjusted so it's flat all the way along. Now this is actually not that critical on this operation, but I'm just going to do it anyway out of a matter of habit. And this particular, I'm going to show you another method. You can do this here. You can just use the stop rod to do that. Use it just as well instead of using the square. We're going to loosen this up here so that can move. Let's move that back up out of the way. Okay, Tighten that up. That should be level all along there. Okay, that's good right there. Okay, so now I'm going to adjust this fence. You can see right now we're taking too deep a cut. I'm going to have to move this fence here out. Dottie's going to tell me when I'm getting there.
Looks like it's just about there now.
I'm going to come over and look at that, see what it looks like. That is pretty close there. I'm going to do it out one more so that it's taken not quite as deep. Okay, so we're going to start right there. That's going to be our starting position there. Some of you may have noticed that I have the cutter installed on here upside down. The machine, when it's in this mode, is going to rotate in this direction like this. Well, you can see right there that I have the cutters on upside down. So I'm going to have to change that over. So here I'm going to change this cutter. So here on this one, you'll notice that I'm using the router chuck with the ball bearing from the speed increaser that I'm using on here instead of the 1/2-inch shaper cutters. You can use either way to mount these on here. Since I have both, then I can do one on each machine. And these bearings you see me having here, I have those just for spacers. That's the only reason I'm using on there, because I'm not actually using the bearing itself to rub up against it. So I've got my height done again. This time though, stock gets put the other way because we flipped the cutter. And I found that using this, it doesn't go out like this when I mount this on here. Ideally, I would want it to be like out here, but because of the position of the fence, it's not enabling to do it. So it's going to be down on here. So I don't think I'm even going to bother using this shield on this application after all. I'm getting ready to do a test cut now. And so when I actually start the machine, I'm going to turn the sound off so you don't have to listen to the machine, and then I will stop and put the sound back on and talk to you about it. Now, as you can see, when we mount the cutter on the top, do it on the top from top down, we have to feed from the opposite direction when it was below the table. And you can see here, right now, I'm taking too much off right here. I'm really taking too much off. So I'm going to need to adjust my fence. I'm going to have to move this fence out, and also I'm running into this fence over here. So I'm going to have to move this. I'm going to adjust both fences. So I'm going to adjust it, and then I'll come back to you. Okay, now I've readjusted the fences. We're going to run the test again and see how this works out. Okay, so now we're going to take our coped piece and see how that fits in there. So here's our coped piece, and you can see here, we've got that lip there. Looks like at least a 1/16 of an inch. So I'm going to have to, when I drop this, it looks like this is the way it was fed. I'm going to have to move my cutter down so that this is thicker and this is thinner. So I'm going to have to move that down. I'm going to just do this about a 1/16 of an inch, and we'll see. So I'll get another scrap piece. This is a scrap piece here. We'll try this one. Okay. Let's see how we're doing here. Kind of the same thickness. Okay. This seems to be flush on this side here. Let me clean off this fuzz on the other side and see how that fits. Okay, so let's see here how that's feeling. That feels flush there. And that feels flush there. Okay, so that's our final setting. Now we'll run all our pieces through. Okay, so now I've got the final setting, so I'm going to feed my 2 stiles and my 2 rails through. So you got to make sure when you feed this through that you have your rails done correctly. If you do it like this, it'll be wrong. You got to have it set like this when you run this through. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so now we got our pieces cut. You noticed I added these support legs here. So here's a stile. Here's a rail. It's going to fit like that. And then this rail here is going to fit like that. Turn this so we can put this against the fence here. There we go. And then, of course, this stile here is going to fit right in here. So there we are. Okay, so now we've finished doing this on the shaper. And you see how it fits together, just like we did on the molder and as well doing it on the stacked dado. So that's the end of this particular video, which is on doing rails and stiles using the shaper. In the next video, I'm going to talk about the differences in results and what my preferences are on which method I like to use and the advantages and disadvantages of each. So thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.